Welcome to online class. Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty. This lecture is conducted by Dipankar Datta, lecturer, Department of English, Anandamohan College, Mymensingh. And today's presentation is on American poetry, more specifically Frost's famous poem Birches. Before going to the poem, at first I want to share the life sketch and his major works and the background of the poem with you. You know, Robert Frost was born in California on 26th March in 1874 and died in Massachusetts, USA on 29th January in 1963. He was an American poet, but his poems was published in England before America. He got Pulitzer Award for his poetry. He was known as a poet laureate in USA. He often wrote about the challenges of New Englanders in nature. He was considered a literary treasure for his consistent style and the depth of his poetic work. He was inspired by another similar poem, Swinging on a Birch Tree, by American poet Lucy Larcom. His famous poems are The Road Not Taken, After Apple Picking, Birches, The Death of the Hired Man, Tree at My Window, and so on. Birches is one of the most renowned nature poems of Robert Frost. Originally, the poem Birches was called Swinging Birches. Then the poem is remarkable for achieving a complete blend of realism, pragmatism, and imagination. In Birches, Frost has presented different appearances of birches. He has used the birch to compare his childhood days lived in the closeness of nature. The poem consists of 59 lines written in blank verse. The poem is not in a stanza format, so we can divide it into stanzas with thematic resemblance to help in our analysis of the poem. After reading this poem, we can find different themes. These are imagination versus the real world, harsh realities of life, nature. Imagination versus the real world. The relationship between the real and the imaginary world is of pivotal concern in the poem. The poem broods over the precarious balance between the real and imagination. Harsh realities of life. Frost has portrayed the world of harsh reality that compels one to seek retreat. By the virtue of his romantic fancy, he wishes to escape the drudgeries of life. Nature. Nature is an important subject in Frost's poetry. He seems to have a close affinity with nature and his poems are meditative. Then, rhetoric devices. Frost has used many rhetoric devices or literary forms successfully in this poem, such as blank verse, metaphor, rhetoric question, simile, and symbols. Birches, written by Robert Frost. Lines 1 to 5. The poem begins with an image of the birches bent left and right. Seeing the birches bending to the left and right beyond the rows of erectly standing trees, the speaker tends to imagine that they have been bent by somebody swinging on them. At the same time, he is aware of the fact that swinging does not bend them enough to cause permanent damage as the ice storms do. Lines 6 to 12. These lines are a beautiful description of birch trees with their branches frozen and encrusted with ice in the morning after the ice storm. The birches swing up and down as the breeze rises, and the ice on them appears to be shining. As the sun grows warmer, the ice is shaken down. The breaking ice has been compared to shattering crystal and glass that falls like an avalanche because of their transparency and their sharpness. Lines 13 to 20. The speaker imagines the ice crystals scattered around the tree as the inner dome of the heaven had fallen. The birches are bent down under the weight of ice and snow until they reach the dried up ferns and shrubs on the ground, which suggests suffering. Lines 21 to 27. The reality dawns on the speaker that the ice storm is the cause of the birch's condition. But he self-consciously breaks from his realistic but metaphorically fantasized and digressions, and perhaps to have some boy bent the birches. He imagines that the young boy lives too far from town to learn baseball. So he has devised a game for himself, a game more interesting than learning baseball. Lines 28 to 35. These lines bring out the theme of conquest of nature. The boy sees his father's birches as objects to be conquered and sets out to accomplish the task. He writes them down over and over again until he takes the stiffness out of them. He maintains perfect balance even when he reaches the top and comes to the ground with the same easy movement. His poetic imagination surpasses the real reason behind the bent birches. Lines 35 to 40. These lines continue describing the boy's technique for climbing and bending the trees. The boy performs his action as carefully as someone who takes extra care to fill a cup or up to the brim and even above the brim. It refers to the careful construction involved in completing a literary task, or to a sense of triumph felt by the poet on establishing his world of imagination over the realistic world. Lines 41 to 47. The third part of the poem begins with a more personal and philosophical tone. The speaker claims to have been such a youthful swinger on birches in his childhood. He nostalgically desires to go back those days again. This longing for the simpler days of childhood stands in a sharp contrast with the pain of adult world, which is described as a pathless oat. This pathless oat is a simile which compares life to a forest with no clearly marked path, where one may easily lose one's way. Here we find the poet's sharp contrast between the real and imaginary world makes us realize the importance of his momentary escape from the everyday din and bustle. Line 48 to 53. The speaker makes it clear that his escapist mode is dominant because of the vexation of life. However, he only wants to get away from earth for a while but not permanently. He wants to come back to the earth because he realizes that earth is the right place for love. He expresses his love and attachment for the real world through it inhabits complexities of all kinds. He recognizes the fact that there is no better place than the real world. Lines 54 to 59. In the concluding lines, the speaker wishes to climb a birch tree to go towards heaven. He would enjoy his momentary bliss till the tree is unable to bear his weight anymore and sets him down again. He wants to experience the thrill and adventure of rising up as well as the satisfaction of coming back to the earth. It suggests that climbing a tree is an opportunity to get away from the earth. On the other hand, there can be no love or any other human emotion. There should be a fine balance between his work on earth and his spiritual aspiration. Dear learners, you know, third wave of coronavirus is rising day by day. No vaccine is available yet against COVID-19, so there is no alternative of maintaining social distance, hygiene, and wearing mask. Stay home, stay safe. Thanks to all.